After a beautiful and fun day on Wednesday, the Cardinals put forth a miserable effort that matched the weather on Thursday against the Reds.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I am JD Hafford, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can follow me on X at JD Sports Radio. Podcast available at LO_Cardinals. We're on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Hit that notification button so you don't miss out on anything. Also available on TikTok, Instagram, at Locked On Cardinals. We're all over the place, and this is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. So later in the show, we're going to talk about the trade that the Cardinals made with the Dodgers on Thursday. We've got injury updates on Pozo and Herrera. But let's start with the wet and rainy game on Thursday. Cardinals had a chance to win their first road series of the season, and I hate to blame Mother Nature, I really do, but that was a big part of the problem here, man. An hour and 37-minute rain delay on a getaway day. It appeared to zap any interest that the team had in playing baseball. It was just rough, because things were going well. It was exciting in the first few innings before the rain hit, and then it was all Cincinnati Reds after that. It was a 2-1 ball game when the skies opened up and sent both teams to the clubhouses, and it really affected both of these teams in opposite ways. The Reds seemed to find life and looked a little more energized, while the Cardinals looked like they had all taken a nap and were like sleeping in their lockers while it happened, and then were rudely woken up and told to finish a ball game. They're like, okay, well, let's go out there. Matthew Liberatore got the start in this one. He was stung on a first pitch swing home run by a Reds catcher, Jose Trevino, in that second inning. And it wasn't anything I'd be upset about. Libby's trying to get ahead in the count. He throws a sinker, and it just hit over the heart of the plate, and Trevino ambushed it, jumped all over it, made it 2-0. But the Cardinals answered right back. Top of the third inning, Mason Wynn had this outstanding 12-pitch at bat, just foul after foul after foul. And although it ended in a strikeout, it was still a very impressive at bat, and it took its toll on Reds pitcher Andrew Abbott, similar to how Pedro Pages had that 11-pitch at bat on Wednesday and then hit a home run. Those kind of at bats take their tolls on the starters, and Red starter Andrew Abbott really had to work there. And even though he got the strikeout, the next two hitters were able to get on base with hits, and perhaps they took advantage of a little bit of the fatigue that Mason Wynn helped get that out of Andrew Abbott. Donnie ends up getting a single. Nolan Arenado hits a single, little blooper into center field. Donnie scores on that play after shortstop Ellie De La Cruz mishandles it a bit in the outfield. He tried to swipe at it and didn't pick it up cleanly, so Donnie kept running. 2-1 ball game, and we're off and running. Then in the fourth inning, Jordan Walker walks. Pozo has a 10-pitch at bat before grounding into, unfortunately, yet another Cardinals double play that second baseman Matt McClain made a really nice scoop on. It was a nice play. Give him credit. And here we are at the end of 4 innings, and the Cardinals had Abbott at 74 pitches. They had 3 hits. They had walked 4 times. They were wearing this dude down. He was reeling. The Cardinals kind of had him where they wanted him. And we'll never know if they were going to be able to pounce all over that, because before the Reds can hit, rain comes down. It opens up in the middle of the fourth inning, and it caused that 1 hour and 37-minute rain delay. The game itself, like where they're actually playing baseball, I think it was 2 hours and 21 minutes was the final count. I can double check on that for you guys so I don't give you any false information, but I believe that's what it was. Yeah, 2:21. And then an hour and 37-minute rain delay. So the rain delay almost lasted as long as the game itself. Okay, so it was significant. And like I said, I don't know what the Cardinals did in the clubhouse during that time, but it appeared that maybe they switched uniforms with some imposters and hopped onto their charter flight back to St. Louis a little earlier, because the rest of the game was so uninteresting on the Cardinals side of things. Like they look like a bunch of zombies just going through the motions. There was no life. There was no energy. It was about as dull and as boring a game as I've been to live in person, and most certainly this year. They just didn't look like they had any interest in being there anymore. That's just how it felt. And I'm sure if you said something like that to any of the players or Ollie, they'll tell you, no. We were giving it our best shot, and we were doing this. We were trying to do this, and that may be true. I'm just telling you the vibes I got from being at the stadium. It's kind of like a good thing that the bullpen was allowing so many runners to get on base, because these guys might have fallen asleep standing up out there in the outfield and on the infield. It was just really, really lifeless. And it wasn't like that before the rain delay. Like they had some jump to them, and they were looking to win that series, and the rain delay just took it all out of them. So the Cardinals offense, if you can call it that, went hitless after the second inning. They didn't have a single base runner after the rain delay. They had a walk in the fourth with the Jordan Walker walk, and that was it. Nobody else got on base. Not one. So, like I said, it just looked like they didn't want to be there anymore. By the time the rain delay ended, I didn't want to be there anymore. So it's hard for me to throw stones at them when I was like, I'm not even playing in the game, and I was like, dude, let's get out of here. It's cold, and it's windy, and it's wet, and it's just blech. So part of me has sympathy for him, but at the same time, it's their job to go out there and put forth the best effort. Some people are blaming Ollie for not having the team awake. These are the things I'm getting from, listeners and stuff. And some are blaming the players, but whatever. It just was kind of a bad look. It looked like they kind of rolled over and just accepted that they were going to take this L and get the hell out of Dodge. So, tale of two offenses in this game. The Cardinals scored 15 runs in 18 innings on Wednesday, and 2 total in the other 18 innings of the series. So not very balanced, but positivity. It was good enough to split the series. Okay. So they didn't walk away losing the series. They got a split. And it wasn't all on the offense. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't all on the offense, because the bullpen was really, really rough on Thursday. They didn't do themselves any favors. So we'll discuss that. Plus, again, we've got updates on Pozo's injury, Herrera's rehab, and obviously that trade that the Cardinals made with the Dodgers. So we'll talk about all of this coming up on Locked On Cardinals. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Now, recently, I can tell you, it went to Uncle Sam, but normally, everyday living, dining out, online shopping, entertainment, it's easy to lose track. You go to a ball game and you buy a couple of things, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, that was a little expensive. And this is where Monarch Money can come in and help you out. They'll be your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. And they're not just a budgeting app. Monarch Money, it's a complete financial command center where you can track all your accounts. They can track your investments and all your spending. And you're going to do all of this in one place, so you can stop managing your money and actually start building some wealth. And I know it's convenient and easy to get food and things delivered to your house. My wife loves to do it. I love to do it. If you don't want to go anywhere, you're just like, boop, 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 no big deal. But it gets a little pricey. So with the Monarch Money app, you can budget smarter and save more. And instead of juggling multiple apps, you just use Monarch Money to check your finances, track that spending, and even plan long-term goals. And if you're married, it makes managing your money with your partner or your spouse even easier. It's fantastic. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB, for half off your first year. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube as well as on X anytime you want. Your feedback is always welcome and encouraged. So the bullpen, which, it's seen its fair share of bad days this year, had another one on Thursday. And again, this rain delay did not help things. And I don't want to use this as an excuse. I really don't. But it affected what was going on. Because after you had such a great day from the staff in general on Wednesday during that doubleheader, you were looking forward to being able to trust Matthew Liberatore to go 5, 6, maybe even 7 innings in this one. He's shown the ability to do it already this season. And they made an attempt to actually keep Libby in this game. During the rain delay, he actually threw a simulated 4th inning in hopes that if the rain would stop, he'd be able to go back out there and pitch in the game once again. But the delay continued to last too long. As soon as it started to dry up a little bit, the rain would come back. And honestly, when we were looking at the reports, the weather reports before the game started, a lot of the really bad stuff had gone to the north of downtown Cincinnati. But as it got windier, you could tell that some of the stuff that was supposed to pass was going to the trail end of it, was going to come through. And just looking at the radar, we knew we were screwed. So Ollie had to go to the bullpen. And things immediately went off the rails as soon as he did that. Matt Sponson, who looked better in his last outing, took over after the delay. Deuces were wild for Matt in this one. End of the day, check it out. 2 innings, 2 runs, 2 hits, walked 2, and struck out 2. But he was all over the place. He just no command whatsoever, specifically with the breaking stuff. It was just spinning up there. He couldn't get on top of the breaking ball. So things didn't go well for him. He leaves the game with the score 4-1. Riley O'Brien strolls in next. We know control can be an issue for him from time to time since he's been a Cardinal. And, sometimes he's effectively wild where because there's so much movement on his stuff that he gets people to chase. Strikes out that first hitter that he comes in to see, but then he misses badly on a slider that was supposed to be either outer half or even outside of the zone. That's where Pozo was set up. And it just spun and hung over the inside part of the plate. And Spencer Steer pummeled it into the seats, making it 5-1. And the route was on. He stays in for the 7th. He's got a walk and then a wild pitch. And then he hits Ellie De La Cruz on his back foot. They reviewed it. It got him all right. And all of this with 2 outs at the end of it. Like with 2 outs, this is happening. And Ollie goes to John King. Okay. Mr. Double Play last year. Induced 8 of them. He was that guy, could get that ground ball, get you out of the inning. But instead, he gives up 3 straight singles. It's 8-1 by the time the inning ends. All of these guys scoring with 2 outs, which makes things even more miserable. The Reds would get an unearned run off King in the 9th inning. But, another rough outing for the veteran left-hander. And I hate to put it all on him here because it wasn't a great situation for him. Opponents are hitting .333 against him this year. ERA is back over 5 now, but he's meant to come in and get either the ground ball or get lefties out because lefties are only hitting .211 against him. Right-handers are now hitting .414 against him. 6 of the 9 batters that he faced in Thursday's game were right-handed because the Reds had stacked their righties to go up against Matthew Liberatore. And I'm sure Ollie was hoping that he could rely on the righties in the bullpen this time around. Again, hoping that Libby would go 5, maybe even 6. Then he could go Sponson, O'Brien, and then Helsley. I'm sure that was what the plan was. But the rain screwed it all up. And they brought in King instead, because you're not going to bring in Helsley in a game like this, even if you want to get him some work. And King got punished for it because he had to face a bunch of right-handers who just hit him better. That's just the way it is. So, wasn't set up for King to succeed in this one. This wasn't a good spot to have to use him, but Ollie had to use him. Everybody's got to throw eventually. And unfortunately for King, he had to come in a game where there was a lot of right-handers in the lineup, and they did some damage against him. Now, there was a play late in the game that saw our catcher Joel Pozo, possibly injure his wrist. If you were watching the game, you saw it. It was a slide at the plate, and he came up like holding it, and it looked like it might be something serious. So he ended up getting some x-rays done. We'll tell you the results of that coming up. We also got a good sign from Ivan Herrera as he continues his rehab. Boy, have we missed him. Plus a trade involving the Cardinals and the Dodgers. We'll talk about all of that coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Well, crack into a good source of protein with wonderful pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Now, when you're watching Cardinals baseball, specifically days like a doubleheader where you're going to be on that couch for a long time, you're looking for a snack that's not going to hurt you, not going to put on extra calories or put the fats in you. This is obviously good. You've got the Blues hoping to continue their playoff run. NBA playoffs are going on right now. You got the Battlehawks. You got St. Louis City SC. You're going to snack on something. Why not make a smart decision and snack on something that is good for you? Wonderful Pistachios makes it super easy to go get that quick protein boost. And usually that's a really good thing for guys like myself that work out and you want to build muscle, and getting as much protein as you can inside your body is very, very important with that. And snacking on something that's going to give me protein, sign me up all day, every day. And it provides all 9 essential amino acids while you're watching the big game. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Thank you again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, you can check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night, every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast, and you might see a familiar face as one of the hosts on MLB Game Night. That's right. I do that. I'm part of the rotation there, which is it's a lot of fun. We run down all of the different games that go on. We'll talk about the Cardinals and Reds later on tonight, and we'll go through the rest of the league as well. So good stuff, honestly. If you haven't seen it yet, maybe check that out. All right, let's start with the injuries. Okay, Pozo, who he's filled in nicely, right, as a backup for Pedro Pages, while Ivan Herrera rehabs from his bone bruise. Done a nice job. Late in the game, though, on Thursday, there was that play at the plate that I was talking about, and the runner slides into home plate. He actually slid head first. It wasn't like the feet hit him. He slid head first, but when they collided a little bit, because it's not like the big collisions like it used to be in baseball, but when they collided, Pozo's coming in to make the tag, and the runner's coming in full force, and he injures his wrist while applying the tag, and it looks like it just kind of got jammed up in there. I've had that actually happen to me before, but it happened at third base. Runner was trying to steal third. Throw from the catcher was tailing into the runner. I lay the tag down. He comes in full force, and it just jams your wrist. And I thought it was broken. We ended up going to get x-rays for myself during that injury. The doctors thought it was broken at first. They put a cast on me and took it off 2 weeks later to check out how it was healing. And we're like, well, maybe it wasn't broken after all. And I ended up being okay. So you're thinking the worst here. You're like, oh my gosh, not another catcher injury with Pozo. Stays in the game. Wraps it up and stays in the game. They take an x-ray after the game is over, and it came back clean. No issues there. So that's great news. Derek Gould reported that Pozo said that the soreness had already started to subside as he readied for their charter flight to St. Louis. So great news, because you don't want to have to use another catcher while you're waiting on Ivan Herrera. You don't want to have to bring up another guy. So great news there, right? Pozo, not a serious injury. It looks like he's going to be okay. More good news, though, from the catching position. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can probably see the smile and the smirk on my face right now, because Ivan Herrera continues his rehab from that bone bruise that knocked him out of action since their trip to Boston in the early part of April. And he was cleared to begin a rehab assignment with AAA Memphis earlier this week, was in the lineup today as the designated hitter. Didn't catch today, but was the DH. And in the 8th inning, our guy Ivan pops a 3-run jack to left field. 105.4 off the bat. He looked good jogging to me. Looked really good jogging around those bases. Looked healthy. It's a great sign for sure, because the Cardinals have certainly missed the power stroke that Ivan Herrera provides. Now, I know that he hit 3 in one game, and that kind of might have blown his power numbers out of proportion, but the dude is a slugger. And he's the guy that I told you at the beginning of the year that I was keeping an eye on big time, because I thought he was going to be a major part of this offense. I'm like, I think he's underrated as a hitter. I don't see people giving him the credit that I felt he deserved. And he just looks like when he comes up to the plate that he's going to do some damage. And so far this season, he'd been that guy for the Cardinals. He led the team with 4 home runs when he got hurt on April 6th. Here it is, May the 1st, and he's still second behind Lars Nootbaar, who now has 5. And the power outage from the Cardinals, now I know they hit 6 home runs on Wednesday, but they haven't been hitting a whole lot of home runs. Willson Contreras, we know, got off to that slow start. He's been warming up a little bit. You're starting to see it come together for Willie. Had a couple over the last, since Herrera's been hurt, including one in Wednesday night's game, which was a bomb off the batter eye. That was certainly cool. Mason Wynn hit 2 in Wednesday's first game, but you're not seeing it from Jordan Walker. He's got just 2 on the year. Nolan Gorman, and I know he was out with the hammy issue. He's got 1 home run, though. Only 1, which is weird. That not only is he not doing all that much, even when he's putting the ball in play, but only 1 home run. And we've said this before. You don't mind the strikeouts when you're getting the production from his power. And now you're not getting it. So not a great start for Nolan Gorman this year. Big disappointment. Lucan Baker and Alec Burleson, the 2 guys that are kind of comboing this DH spot, have no home runs yet. Neither one of them. None. And when the offense was really cooking at the beginning of the year, which it's still been a good offense, but, you know, when it was just on fire at the beginning of the season, Ivan Herrera was one of the big thumpers in the middle of the order doing damage. You know, he was a dangerous spot in the order. He alters the way people pitch this lineup. And when you took him away, it's a significant MIA bat in that order. As far as him coming back to the team, he is set to catch 5 innings on Friday. They want to make sure that he can catch back-to-back games before bringing him up to the major league. So hopefully things continue to go in the right direction with Herrera. But it looked good today on that swing and on the jog around the bases. Looked good to me. It was also announced during the game on Thursday that the Cardinals had struck a deal with the Los Angeles Dodgers, sending right-hander Ryan Ludus to LA for cash considerations. Now, Ludus had been designated for assignment earlier this week and removed from the 40-player roster so that they create a spot for Jose Barrera, who got the start in center field on Thursday. Made a nice catch in center field. Had a nice line shot that just happened to be right at the third baseman at Marte for the Reds, or they would have put some runs in. But, you know, Barrero's that Swiss Army knife that Ali can use off the bench, the right-handed bat, the speed. He can play infield and outfield. So he's probably going to stick around for a while. And they had to create a 40-man spot for him. And unfortunately, Ludus was the guy that they had to move. Made his major league debut this past season, had a 3.38 ERA in 8 games for AAA Memphis this season. Also, and this was a great story by Derek Gould at STLtoday.com, if you haven't seen it yet, about how Ludus helped them develop the Cardinals Chirp app. The minor league pitchers and coaches and stuff use. So that was kind of neat to learn about that. You can check that out, which kind of gives you the backstory about Ludus and how he got the gig, as well as how he became a pitcher in the minor leagues and how he got better. Added some velo to his arsenal, and now he's going to the Dodgers and is going to be on their 40-man roster because they're dealing with all sorts of injuries in LA. We feel real bad for the Dodgers, right? But Cardinals get some cash in return, so nothing sexy to discuss. No trades for anybody that was like a prospect or anything at all, but Ludus going to get a chance with the Dodgers now. Final thoughts overall, this 4-game set with the Reds. I think you got it, because I'm normally a positive guy. I think you got to deem this as progress. They didn't lose the road series, right? For the first time this year. Doubled their road win total. They only had 2 road wins coming into the series. They take 2 of 4 from the Reds, who were playing really good baseball when the Cardinals came into town, and you saw them play really, really well on that Monday night game. And then the Cardinals, I mean, I had never seen a major league doubleheader before. And I loved it because not only did our Cardinals win, but it was a beautiful day in Cincinnati. And again, the Cardinals won, which was awesome. So can't really complain there. Super impressed with Miles Michaelis' start on Wednesday. Plenty of you guys saw me behind home plate in that one. I was the one in the powder blue jersey, the only Cardinal fan in the entire middle section there. We had a couple other ones sprinkled around in the diamond seats there, but I was the only one like right there. And oh boy, those seats are awesome. If you ever get the green seats at Busch Stadium, cherish it. It is so nice to be down there and get that view. But watching Miles Michaelis deal on Wednesday, that was cool. Like, how do we bottle up that version and get him to repeat that? That's the real question. How can we get that Miles Michaelis more often here in 2025? Because he was good, and he got squeezed a couple times too. Like, there were a few plays. I mean, obviously, Ollie got tossed in that game for arguing balls and strikes because he was sick of it. He was just like, and both sides were not happy with the strike zone in that game, but it looked like the Cardinals were getting pinched a little more than the Reds were in that one. So, but good stuff from Miles Michaelis. Loved the power surge in the ninth inning. It was fun to be able to do the little bird celebration after the home runs. That was pretty cool. And then you saw it again in game two. They come out flying, and they come out swinging against a rookie pitcher. And I know a lot of us were nervous that, like, oh my gosh, this Chase Petty guy, pretty good in the minors for the Reds. Usually if the Cardinals haven't seen a guy, they have some issues, and they had no issues with figuring out Petty. So that was cool. A little bit bummed, obviously, that they weren't able to finish the job in Thursday's game where, again, it just felt like they were going through the motions. Maybe they weren't. Maybe that's just me overreacting to something. Not like that's never happened before. I realize it does happen from time to time where teams will just shut the other team down. I mean, even in the Cardinals' big win on Wednesday night in that 9-1 game, remember, it was 20 straight hitters didn't do anything. They were retired. And it was very much the same type of thing after that rain delay. So it does happen. Okay. So we're not gonna get super angry about it all, but they're going to need more juice this weekend. They're going to need some juice this weekend because the New York Mets are coming back to town. Mets swept the Cardinals in New York, but let's not forget, Cardinals are a different team at home. They've been a different team. They'll have Sonny Gray on the mound on Friday night. We're going to preview that entire series and talk more about things going on with the Cardinals in our next episode. But thank you guys for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us follow on X at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Locked On Cardinals. Like, subscribe on YouTube. I believe we're like 35 subscribers away from hitting 12,000. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do me a solid. We'll get to 12,000 here real soon. I appreciate you. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason, and we will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.